Sherm Chester with you on this edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum podcast, and Jay Pinsonnault from the Seacoast Media Group, and of course, SeacoastOnline.com, where I get all my sports, is joining us today. And Jay, we made it through another season, the 2025-26 sports season for the NHIAA.
That is correct. We still have Maine. I still busy with Maine. My summer's not started yet.
Oh, I thought you were all ready to just put on some suntan oil and go to the beach.
I wish.
Breaking news.
Where's the sound?
I'll make one up. Yeah, what's the breaking news? That's right. You just told me before we started.
Yeah. Cody Morissette, 2018 graduate of Exeter High School, was just promoted to AAA St. Paul. He was released at the beginning of last week by the Miami Marlins. The day after he was released, he signed a free agent contract with the Minnesota Twins organization. He began with Double-A Wichita, and then he spent about a week there when he batted 282, home run, 9 RBIs, and he's been promoted to AAA St. Paul, which is right next door to which is a short drive to Target Field. So hopefully Cody is now one step closer to reaching the major leagues, and he's back in AAA. And the ironic thing about him being in St. Paul, Minnesota right now is one of his biggest high school fans from the Seacoast now lives in St. Paul, and that's former Seacoast Media Group sports editor Ryan O'Leary. So Ryan O'Leary, I'm sure, is gonna, if he's not already, he may be getting a Cody Morissette St. Paul Saint jersey. So congrats to Cody, Kristen, and Dave, and brother Josh. Cody's back in AAA, and also in AAA, Ben Malgeri, another Exeter kid. He's been putting up productive numbers with the Toledo Mud Hens, the AAA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. So the season started with 2 Blue Hawks in AAA, one step away from the major leagues. It was back to 1 when Cody was released. Now it's back to 2 with Cody joining Ben Malgeri in AAA. So very exciting to see.
It is. And I was talking to both Cody's dad, Dave, and his brother, Josh, over the weekend at the tournaments I was covering. And I said to both of them that Minnesota organization is a good fit for him, and for him to see, well, to get the call to the show. That's the ultimate game plan, is get that call to go up to play with the Twins. And I think this is a good organization, a good fit for him. I was looking at their organization itself and the layers, and yeah, like you say, the Wichita thing was just to get his groove back on, and then now he's in AAA, and then it's one step away from the show. So that we're pulling for him. We really are.
Yes, sir.
And that is good breaking news. That's a good way to start things off. And again, we wrap up the regular season for spring sports, and there were a lot of championship games, and we covered a bunch of them. I know your crew was busy all over the state doing different games, different divisions. I was at the Division I girls final, and you picked it. You said from the start it probably would be a battle, a family feud of sorts between Portsmouth and Sauhegan coaches, because they're sisters. And you were right, and it was a good contest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for the second straight year, Portsmouth and Sauhegan square off in the Division I New Hampshire Girls Lacrosse Championship. And for the second straight year, JoJo Kerrigan gets bragging rights on her sister. Portsmouth completed their undefeated season with a 10-6 win over Sauhegan. It was by far the closest game Portsmouth has had all year long. Congratulations to JoJo Kerrigan, the entire Portsmouth girls lacrosse program. They lose a bunch of players this year, but that program is in good shape. They have they do lose a lot, but they also have a lot of returning players coming back. And I think the next goal for the Clipper girls lacrosse program is to set the New Hampshire state record for consecutive wins. I believe Portsmouth is now at 45, which leaves them, if my numbers are correct and my sources are correct, that leaves them 14 wins shy of the matching Londonderry's 59-game win streak, which would put that potential tying record-setting game sometime towards the end of next year, and hopefully they can set a new record. And who knows, maybe I have to find out what the national record is for high school girls lacrosse. Because back when Portsmouth set the baseball national record, it was 89 straight wins. So I guess a couple of things I would have to look at is what is the current national win streak and what is the overall national win streak for girls lacrosse. I wasn't surprised that Portsmouth won. I was surprised at how close the score was. Only a 4-goal difference. During the regular season, Portsmouth really wasn't tested much. They lost to Sauhegan in the second game, 11-5, and then that was by far their closest game of the year. The only other game that was in single figures was in the opener against Pinkerton, and that was 16-8 when the team was probably working out some kinks in the first game of the year because the teams played each other later on, and Portsmouth handily beat them 20-1 back on May 22nd. So Portsmouth was the lone team to have a bye. They beat Bedford in the quarterfinal round, 19-3. Then they beat Angela Palmer and the Exeter Bluehawks, the number 4 seed, 15-4. And they cap off their undefeated championship season with a 10-6 win over Sauhegan. And that was last Tuesday at Bill Ball Stadium. So great overall season by JoJo Kerrigan and the entire Portsmouth High School girls lacrosse program.
Well, Coach Kerrigan has a machine there, no doubt about it, and it just keeps on rolling. It was a good contest, though. Her sister was doing her best to kind of counteract
Yeah.
with Sauhegan. Division II, that was another real great contest, and you would call that one Hanover and Winnicott going for the championship, and the Warriors on top.
Yeah, second straight year Winnicott wins. They were tested in that game. They only won 12-11 over number 5 seed Hanover. Hanover played very well in the playoffs. They were the 11 seed. They beat the number 4 Oyster River in the quarterfinal round. Then they beat the top seed Timberlane 12-1 in the semis, and they lost by the same score, 12-11, to the second seeded Warriors. And that was also that followed the Portsmouth game at Exeter High School last Tuesday. That is the like Portsmouth, but Portsmouth was 3. But this was the second consecutive state championship for Glenn McKenzie and the Warrior program. They are now they leave Division II on a high note. They will be moving to Division I at the start of next season. So Winnicott took care of business in their final season, Division II, and let's see how that translates next year in Division I. I know that McKenzie purposely scheduled some out-of-conference games against Division I opponents this year. They lost to Portsmouth, but they held their own against other teams as well. The other Division I teams, they beat Bishop Girton 7-6. They lost to Exeter 11-10. They beat Bedford 9-5. They beat Londonderry 8-6. So both of their and they lost to Pinkerton 12-8. So they lost to 3 Division I teams in the regular season, but they were competitive games, and everyone loses to Portsmouth. So that was a 13-goal loss, but I think they would take that as a just like a show me type of game, like a barometer of where they are and where they want to be. So Winnicott ends their run in Division II with a consecutive state championship.
Well, congratulations. It was a great game. And Hanover played a tough game against them, and but the Warrior girls just held on, and that was all that mattered. And now, like you say, it's onwards and upwards to Division One. But hey, they're the champs until the
Yep.
end of next year. So now in Division Three, were you surprised at all by number one Bow going up against number three St. Thomas and how that came out?
I wasn't surprised. St. Thomas, the number 3 seed. I wasn't surprised they beat the top seed Bow, but I am surprised at how much of a beating they won by. They won 18-8, and that surprised me a lot. This is St. Thomas's third straight Division 3 championship. So them winning was not a shock, but the amount of goals they won by was a shock because Bow beat them in the regular season 13-12 back in mid-April, April 23rd. So I guess that's not really mid-April, but so they lost by 1. So St. Thomas figured some stuff out and was able to beat them 18-8 and win their third straight Division 3 title. So congrats to Jill Carroll, the head coach over there in Dover at St. Thomas, and for a third straight state championship.
You picked it out. You said the Seacoast would, as far as the girls lacrosse, it was a sweep. Yeah. Portsmouth, Winnicott, St. Thomas. Congratulations to the ladies in all three respective.
I tried to make that bet down at the Brook, but they wouldn't take it. A 3-team parlay, Portsmouth, Winnicott, and St. Thomas.
Well, let's go back or go to the guys. Now, in Division 1 lacrosse, unfortunately, the only Seacoast representative going into the semifinals was the Exeter Bluehawks, and they were lost to the Bedford Bulldogs in that game. It was 9-8, so it was a close game all the way. Bedford going into the finals against the Pinkerton Astros, who upset the Girton Cardinals. They seem to have the Cardinals' number now. Pinkerton, again, was the 2 seed. Bishop Girton was the number 3 seed. And the final there in the semifinals was 11-9. So, again, the final round was Bedford against Pinkerton, 1 versus a 2. As it turned out, Pinkerton came out the number 2 seed, but it came out with the win, 17-16 over Bedford. That was a slobber knocker, a real slugfest. Pinkerton, the champion this year. But to my point about they have Bishop Girton's number, Bishop Girton had been the champion in 21, 22, 2023, 2024, and 2025 when they beat the Pinkerton Astros last year 19-5. So this year in the regular season, Pinkerton beat Bishop Girton, which broke a state record 80 some odd games in Division 1 for the Cardinals. And then they get into the semifinal round, take them out to the semifinal round. So Pinkerton is definitely on a roll and got some sweet revenge this year. Pinkerton, again, has been coached in the past by Brian O'Reilly, and no doubt about it, he's got a machine there. I'm looking at the past records for going back years to 1994 is what I've got here in front of me. And if it doesn't say Pinkerton, it's Bishop Girton. So
yeah,
those two teams
got a stranglehold there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the Bluehawks have been involved, but unfortunately came out on the short end when it came to going up against the Cardinals a few years ago. The championship game in Division II boys lacrosse, to get to the semifinals, Winnicott, the number 1 seed, beat Oyster River, and Derryfield, they beat the Portsmouth Clippers. So it was a 1 versus 2 going into the championship game. And I just want to go back to the semis for a second before we get to the final round for the championship game. The game, Winnicott versus Oyster River, you were there. That game got chippy at the end.
It did once the score was or once the outcome was no longer in doubt, and with Winnicott holding a sizable lead in the final couple minutes, it did get a little physical. Both teams were a little chippy, and it got to a point where Bill Ball, who was on the sidelines, he spoke with Winnicott AD Aaron Abood and members of the Oyster River coaching staff that it might not be it might not be good if they had a post game handshake. So as soon as the game was over, Winnicott went to the left, Oyster River went to the right, and broke off in their own post game team huddles, and Winnicott advanced to Saturday's championship game for only the second time in program history, and also the second time they faced Derryfield.
And Derryfield in their contest versus the Portsmouth Clippers, that was a good game. That was a good contest. They came out on top 10-7. Different officiating in that one too. But that again, that Winnicott and Oyster River game got a little, well, like I say, chippy. And the Winnicott Warriors did get into the championship against Derryfield, and that was a well officiated contest and a well played contest by both the Warriors and the Cougars. So tell us about it.
Yeah, Derryfield held on for an 8-7 win. When it kind of jumped out to a 3-1 lead, Derryfield scored the last 3 goals of the first half. So they're up 4-3 going into intermission. Winnicott scores. Brian McCown scored 6 seconds into the second half to tie the game. Derryfield scores the next 3 to go up 7-4. It stayed that way until Winnicott scored 2 goals within, I think, 42 seconds. So now it's 7-6 with 5:54 left. Winnicott tied the game. Spencer Ziegler game tying goal with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Derryfield got possession of the ball, passing it around the field for they begin to start making their move around the 20-second mark. They finally scored. 13.3 seconds left to take an 8-7 lead. Winnicott, Alec Mitchell wins the ensuing faceoff. It goes down the field. It was ruled that he couldn't get a shot off, but it was ruled that Derryfield was holding. Not too great with the lacrosse rules, but Derryfield called for holding, giving Winnicott one final chance with 4.5 seconds left. The ball started on the wing to the left of the Derryfield goalie, who had a phenomenal game. Both goalies, Derryfield and Winnicott's Joel Williams, both credited with 9 saves. So that final sequence, the ball started on the wing to the left of Derryfield. Winnicott passed the ball to Beckett Rath behind the net. And then he quickly tried to send a higher pass in front of the goal. Brian McCown had a stick on it for a brief amount of time and then lost control. And as Winnicott coach, head coach, Pat Snow said that was just a mess there in front of the cage, and Winnicott was not able to get off a potential game-tying goal there as time expired. So the top-seeded Winnicott Warriors, who lost their first game of the season against Portsmouth, they then won 16 straight games, and then they lost their final game of the season, 8-7 to Derryfield in the Division II championship game. And like the girls at Winnicott boys will be joining Division I next season. So they wanted to go out on a bang. They had a great season, but it just came up short for Pat Snow and the Warriors.
Yeah, it was a well-played game. I mean, you said it. There was no lock at any point. I mean, it did look like momentum shifts back and forth, and when it got down to that last minute of the game, everybody was just hanging on, and I thought it was one of the better played games, and I got to talk with the officials after the game. I thought it was a well officiated game as well. Nobody hangs their head. Everybody, from the games I saw, everybody put it all out there on the field, and that's all that matters. Nobody was just phoning it in, and that's the most important part. In Division 3 boys lacrosse, by the way, Co-Brown Northwood came up the champion. They were the number 1 seed going into the tourney. They took out number 2 Bow. The final there was 15-8. Co-Brown was the runner-up last year, so this year they take home the championship. So congratulations to Co-Brown Northwood. Baseball. Now that was a big day up at in Manchester at Northeast Delta Dental Stadium. They had all 4 divisions play baseball that day. Division 1, you basically called it from the get-go. The Trinity Pioneers.
You've said that a few times, Sherm, today.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, I'm gonna give you your due. I mean, you were saying from the start of the season that the Trinity Pioneers were going to be the team to beat, and the Blue Hawks, the Exeter Blue Hawks, were the defending champs, and they gave it a good run, but came up a little short. The Portsmouth Clippers were a Cinderella team, and the Timberlane Owls were a Cinderella team, getting deep into the semis. I mean, it was a fun year in baseball here on the Seacoast. Again, Trinity, the champion, and do you know anything about that contest?
They faced number 6 Londonderry, who's been in many of these championship games during the Coach Demas's run with the Lancers. And Trinity was up 11-1. Londonderry got it a little bit closer. I think they scored 3 runs in the 7th inning. And Trinity caps off a 1-loss season with an 11-4 win over Timberlane in the or not Timberlane, over Londonderry in the Division 1 state champion at Northeast Delta Dental Stadium in Manchester.
Easy for you to say.
No, I think everyone knew at the beginning of the year that Trinity was the team to beat. I said that multiple occasions. They had a very strong team from last season. They got a couple additional transfer players from other schools that wanted to join some friends of theirs at Trinity to form a very, very, very good Division 1 baseball team. And they proved what everyone thought, that they were the best team in Division 1, and they showed it. Their only loss coming against Pinkerton, and that was back on May 2nd, 10-8 loss in Manchester. But after that, they ran the gauntlet, and they had a little bit of a scare there in the semifinals against Timberlane. They were losing, I think, 2-1 in the 4th inning, and Timberlane had some chances to build on that lead, but couldn't get the timely hit. And I think once Trinity tied the game and took the lead, I think it was pretty much a done deal that Trinity was going to advance to the state championship game. Londonderry came in as the 6th seed, and they won 3 games to get to the championship game. They beat Nashua South. They beat Spalding. They beat Portsmouth. So they faced – what's interesting here, Londonderry faced the 11 seed, the 14 seed, and the 15 seed to get to the championship game. So you got to play the teams in front of you,
Right.
But Londonderry didn't have really a tough path, at least seed-wise, to get to the championship game, but they were well deserving to be there. I think at the beginning of the year, when you're talking about who could be a potential Division 1 contender, I think you talk Trinity, you talk Pinkerton, you talk Exeter, you talk Dover, and you talk Londonderry. They were definitely in the mix. They did not see the strongest teams in the playoffs, but they got to the championship game, and they proved that they could be there, and they gave Trinity a battle.
Now, in Division 2, the St. Thomas Aquinas Saints represented the Seacoast area against Kingswood, and tell us about that matchup and how it came out.
Yeah, what a game that was. I wasn't there, but we had our longtime correspondent, Terrell Covey, there, and I was following the game online, and Kingswood jumped out to an 8-0 lead in the 1st inning. St. Thomas leaves two runners in scoring position in the top of the first. So they're feeling good, but they're not feeling great. They had an opportunity, didn't cash in. Kingswood comes back, scores 8 runs in the bottom of the first. So now St. Thomas is, oh boy, we strand 2 and scored position, then we give up 8 in the first. So, but I knew then Eric Wells is such a great coach. He's probably one of, if not the best high school baseball coaches, not only in the Seacoast, but in the state of New Hampshire. I knew that he would get those kids to not give up, to keep believing themselves. And you're not going to score 8 runs with one swing of the bat. You need to chip away. You need to score a run here, run there, get a timely hit, play defense, pitch well. And St. Thomas battled back. They tied the game 8-8 in I think the 3rd or the 4th inning. They took the lead 9-8 in the next inning. So I was either the 4th or the 5th. Then Kingswood tied it with a run in the 6th. And then they had a leadoff double in the bottom of the 7th. He advanced to 3rd on a stolen base. So we have a runner on 3rd base, nobody out. I was texting a couple high school coaches that I know to see what they would do in that situation. Like championship game, season's on the line, runner on 3rd, nobody out. What do you do? Like, do you bring in a 5th infielder? Do you take one of your outfield spots and basically create a 5th infield, like having a guy at 3rd short and the guy right at the bag and then 2nd and 1st? And I don't know what Coach Wells did, but they had a clean single to right, and Kingswood walked off with a 10-9 Division II state championship. And I'm sure that was a great game for everyone involved. I know it was tough for the kids from St. Thomas. I know there were a couple Hampton area kids on the team, a couple Exeter area kids on the team. But when you play in the state championship game, what's better to not – that was the 10 a.m. game. So what better way to start a 4-game championship day than with a walk-off win in the bottom of the 7th? But St. Thomas played very well first year under Eric Wells, who coached the previous 5 years at Marshwood. And one thing is for sure, that St. Thomas Aquinas baseball will be back, and I don't think it'll be long before they're the ones that are holding the Division II state championship trophy at Northeast Delta Dental Stadium. There's rumors of changing the name St. Thomas Aquinas to St. Wells Aquinas in honor of their new head baseball coach. We'll see.
Well, we'll see about that.
We'll see. That's what I heard. St. Wells Aquinas. That has a good ring to it.
Yeah, well, it does. I have to admit. And congratulations to the Knights, by the way, for their win in the Division III. Now, to me, the tournament story is Division IV, because it's a team that's been a factor in their division for years now, and they had an undefeated, perfect season, and they capped it off with the championship, and that's the Newmarket Mules.
Yep. And
they beat the Epping team to get there, and then it was a 1-2 matchup again. Do you know much about that you can tell us about?
Just a little bit more of what you said there. They had, I think this was their 7th consecutive trip to the Division IV state championship. No, I'm sorry, 7 of 8 years. They were not there last year when Epping beat Woodsville. But Newmarket faced Epping this year, and they completed their season. Great season by Stan, head coach over there at the over there in Newmarket, and just a phenomenal game. It was a tight game for the first few innings. Then the Newmarket jumped out to a lead. Then Epping tied it at 6. And then I believe Newmarket scored 3 unearned runs late in the game to give them the 9-6 win, which I believe that was the 1 o'clock game. No, the 4 o'clock game at the Fish Cats.
Yeah, I'm just looking through my computer here, trying to find some more facts and factoids about the Newmarket Mules. But yeah, that's quite a feat. Perfect season, and then taking it with the championship. I was looking back; they were with Class S before they went to divisions one, two, three, four. Class S, their first time in the championship rounds was in 2009. And then, of course, it went to Division Four, and they've had quite a run during that period of time. But they hit the peak, they hit the pinnacle, whatever cliche you want to use, with a perfect season and a Division Four title.
Here's what I would like to see. You take in all sports, you take the four champions. Yeah, you have another like super tournament
Yeah,
where you have the all four winners, maybe 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Have them square off, and the winners play to see who the true state champion is. Now, 95 times out of 100, your Division One state champion will probably be the New Hampshire state champion,
right.
but who knows?
Who knows is right on a
Yeah,
given day. We've been saying that for weeks now. On a given day, anything can happen. And
yeah,
and these kids from different teams, and it doesn't matter. As far as I'm concerned, the divisions are important, because of the size of schools. But these kids for the different teams are some of the best athletes in the state. Period. So.
yeah.
You're right. It could happen on a given day that Division Four Newmarket Mules could take down the number one
Yeah.
Trinity Pioneers. So,
Any given day, who knows?
I'd love to see that. That'd be something that even for like a charity thing or something,
Yeah,
along that line. So, for pick a charity and then NHIA could sanction
yeah.
it out, and if these teams would coordinate and cooperate, I
It
think
would take one more weekend. Have the semifinals be played on Saturday,
yeah,
championship game on Sunday.
I dig it. I dig it. Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
go.
in girls softball, don't want to forget what went down there. In Division One, there were no teams from the Seacoast representing this year. Came close. Where Portsmouth was in the quarterfinals against Londonderry, but Londonderry, the number one seed, went on to take on number four seed Salem in the semis. In the bottom tier or the bracket, probably a surprise was number two Pinkerton was defeated by Goffstown. So Goffstown had to play Timberlane. Now Timberlane is a Seacoast. I'm going to consider them a Seacoast town. They were in the semis at number 11. They were beaten by Goffstown 7-6. So it wound up being Londonderry, the number one seed, against number seven Goffstown, and the Grizzlies came out on top in that one.
I was surprised. I don't know anything about either school, but I know Londonderry is very, very good. I was surprised they lost.
Yeah, and the Grizzlies came up. The Grizzlies softball team came up the Division One champion. So congratulations to them. In Division Two, again, nobody representing the Seacoast, but it was Plymouth, the number 9 seed, going up against the number 3 seed Kingswood, and they came out in the championship game a winner, 3-0 over Plymouth. So Division Two girls softball that goes to Kingswood. In Division Three. Again, St. Thomas Aquinas was representing in the semifinals, and they were taken out by Guilford in that game. It was 1-0, so it wasn't a runaway by any means, but number one Guilford advanced to the finals against the number 2 seed, and that was Prospect Mountain. Prospect Mountain, I was doing some homework here. They've been a factor in Division 3 for years now.
Yeah, St. Thomas handed them their. I think they had a very lengthy win streak that St. Thomas beat in the regular season last year. Then
Yeah,
they beat them again in the state championship last year, and
yeah.
then Prospect Mountain got a little bit of revenge this year in the regular season. So Prospect Mountain's been a force in Division Three softball for years.
Oh yeah, yeah. 2022, 23, 24. They did lose to St. Thomas, as you said, in 25, but they gained the championship back again with a 9-8 win over Guilford, the Golden Eagles. So congratulations to Prospect Mountain in Division 3. Division 4, uh, can you talk about Portsmouth Christian? Tell us how they got to the championship.
Yeah, they Portsmouth Christian. I believe they were the 5 seed going in. They had a great year, ending the season with the championship 5-2 win over Colebrook. They started the tournament with a 5-4 win over the 12 seed Moulton Borough. Then they beat Messinic 3-0 in the quarterfinal round. And then they beat the top seed Pittsburgh Cannon 3-0 in the semifinal round. And then culminating in the end there with that 5-2 win over Colebrook. And I believe Lexi Jordan, the star pitcher for Portsmouth Christian, only gave up a couple hits, and I think she struck out 17 in the championship game. So anytime you can get a dominant pitching performance like that Lexi Jordan gave PCA, you got to give yourselves a chance to win a game. And in this case, it won a championship for the Eagles of Portsmouth Christian Academy Division 4.
And I was going to just move on to one other sport that I don't think we mentioned. We've talked about tennis in the finals there. The co-ed unified volleyball Division 1 championship. It went to Oyster River. They had a 2-1 win over Dover. I'm a big fan of the unified programs we have here in the state of New Hampshire. So congratulations to Oyster River and to Dover. Oyster River, the top seed, number 3 seed going into that championship was Dover. So 2-1 final score. Oyster River Bobcats, the winner. That was a busy season we had. But there was one other sport, and I know you had a write-up in the paper in Seacoast Online. I just read it about the Exeter girls track team. They had a big weekend.
But they had another record. They set a record in the relay. Lexi Paterna, Bree Paterna, twin sisters, Izzy Bremer and Maddie Petit. They won the New England Track and Field Championship in the 4x800 meter relay. They finished in a time of 8 minutes, 57.01 seconds, which set a meet record that held for 12 years. They not only beat it, they kind of shattered it. The previous record was set by LaSalle Academy out of Providence back in 2014, and that time was 9 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. So they eclipsed that by nearly 7.5 seconds. So that's a pretty sizable amount that this team was able to win the New England title with. And then, not to be outdone, Lexi Paterna, Bremer, Poteet, and Martell McBride, they placed fifth in the 4x400 relay, and that set a school record of 3:57.68. So fifth place in New England is certainly a very great accomplishment, and for that relay team.
And it's going to be fun to watch those ladies this next year coming up too. We got more action coming from that whole team.
And then I got a text this morning from one of the Exeter coaches. The 4x800 relay will be competing in the Philly New Balance Outdoor Nationals. So that's Maddie Petit, Brianna Paterna, Izzy Bremer, Lexi Paterna. And then on Saturday, Lexi will be running in the open mile, where she finished 7th in the country in the indoor championship this past winter. So we'll see how they can do in New Balance Outdoor Nationals in Philly.
Well, we've wrapped it up in New Hampshire, but as you said, Maine still has some champions to be determined. What are we looking at there?
We have 3 teams left in Maine. We have York Boys Lacrosse, Marshwood Boys Lacrosse. Both are in Class B. They're both in the semifinal matches tomorrow. If they both win, they face each other in the state championship on Saturday, which would be good. And then the third remaining team we have is the Trape Academy girls lacrosse team, who's playing in the same state semifinals. So 3 teams left before a much-needed vacation next week for me. So,
got anything for us for the 2-minute drill?
I did send Cody a text to congratulate him on his promotion to AAA, and his response: been a crazy past few weeks. Found out last night I was headed to St. Paul. Excited for this move and to continue chasing my dream. enjoying my time with the Twins so far, and can't wait to get to work.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you know what? Like I said, we're wishing him all the best, and that call to the show, hopefully, if not coming this season, at least next year. Because I said to his dad, I said he'll be playing for the Cup next spring down in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's called the Governor's Cup.
Governor's Cup, right?
There you go.
A big competition.
You've mentioned on numerous occasions today how I was right. So I'm going to throw one more. I'm going to throw one more prediction out there.
Okay.
No, actually 3 predictions. The first prediction is the Red Sox will not make the playoffs.
Okay.
And then the second and third predictions, I think once September comes around, both Cody Morissette and Ben Malgeri will get the phone call. We'll get the call, and when they do, I hope. I love when on Twitter they show these videos of players who get the call to the major leagues for the first time, and then to see their pure reaction of them realizing a dream that they've had since they started playing t-ball when they were 3, 4, 5 years old, and then they make the next phone call to their parents or whoever they call after they get word of getting to the major league. So Red Sox not making the playoffs, Cody Morissette getting the call, Ben Malgeri getting the call.
We started off with a happy news, a breaking story that it was a happy one, getting Cody with the call up to AAA. And then just a few minutes before we started recording today, I got a note from our buddy Sam Bruno, kind of a sad note. One of the legendary broadcasters here in New England passed away, Eddie Andleman, who was the father of, as far as I'm concerned, this type of a program where you can get 2 or 3 people together and just yak about sports, have some fun talking about sports. Sometimes when Eddie would team up with Mark Wickton and Jim McCarthy, and on Sunday nights, they were known as the Sports Huddle on WBZ radio for years, and then they went to WEEI and WHDH. But they had fun talking about sports, making fun of some of the things that were going on in the world of sports at times, and just, it was always light talk. It wasn't down and dirty, and it wasn't people yelling over each other all the time. It was radio that you could just sit there and listen to and have a chuckle, and that, I guess that's what to me made it special over the years. So he was probably one of the godfathers of sports radio here in New England, and he will be missed. And the other thing is, he ran that hot dog safari for charity for years.
I forgot about that at Suffolk Downs, right?
A hot dog safari.
I forgot about the hot dog safari.
Matter of fact, there's one brand of hot dog, and I won't plug it, but it was because of him I started eating it, and to this day, it's the only one I'll eat. It's a German hot dog, and it just, it's all meat and really good stuff to eat. It's not what's in this.
I forget about the hot dog safari. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an assignment for the summer. I know you and I are both fans of the television show Survivor. And
Aubrey Bracco, we'll try to get her on.
Aubrey Bracco, who used to work for Seacoast Media Group, and she's a local here in the Seacoast, and it would be fun because, we're 2 Survivor guys, Survivor fans, and I think we can have an intelligent, articulate conversation with that lady on being the ultimate Survivor now.
I'll do my best. We'll see what we can do.
I want to just wrap up by saying congratulations to all the schools in the Granite State. And now that all the hardware has been given out for all the teams, championships in 25-26, now we look forward to the 2026-27 season coming up very soon when we kick things off with all the fall sports, including football. And we'll be focusing on those this coming year as well. So another season in the books, Jay, and I think a very successful season. Congratulations to all the student athletes who participated in a sport this past year, and whether or not they made it to the tournament or not, as long as they gave it all their best on the field, the court, the rinks, the track, that's all that matters, and that they had fun doing it. That to me is what really matters the most. And look forward to another good season coming up in just a matter of weeks.
We'll talk about the Week 4 matchup, the annual Week 4 matchup between Exeter and Winnicott.
Absolutely, friend. Jay's Byline, it's on the Seacoast Media Group newspapers, but you can also go where I get my sports news, seacoastonline.com. So on behalf of Jay Pinsonnault, this is Sherm Chester inviting you to join us for the next edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum podcast.